and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, we'd like to talk about NewJeans Cool With You and Get Up, focusing on a little breakdown of side A and side B to see what they can tell us about the story told in the videos. Now, Cool With You is a song that expresses the growing feelings of love of two people who dream to be with each other against all odds. Starring the likes of Jang Go-yeon, the legendary Tony Leung, and the newcomer Michael Vela, Cool With You is a modern-day retelling of the story of Cupid and Psyche, which is a concept introduced by the recurring appearance of the painting Love and Psyche by François-Edouard Picot. Originally part of the Metamorphosis of Apuleius, the narrative describes the love story between Cupid and Psyche, the first being the son of Aphrodite as well as the god of desire, while the second being a human girl destined to become the goddess of the soul. In the original story, Psyche is presented as a mortal whose beauty is so great it made Aphrodite jealous. To destroy her competition, the goddess sends her son Cupid to make her fall in love with a monster, but this plan backfires because he ends up falling in love with her instead. Consumed by the same attraction he causes in humans, Cupid decides to take Psyche as his wife and brings her to a beautiful palace full of treasures. They can be together, but Cupid must keep his identity a secret, so he only comes to her at night without showing his face nor saying his name. Despite not knowing the identity of her husband, Psyche ends up falling in love with him anyway. One night, however, while Cupid is asleep, she is overcome by curiosity and shines a lamp over his face. She sees the most beautiful man she's ever seen, but her delight is very short-lived. When Cupid wakes up and discovers what she's done, he flies away, and the palace disappears, leaving her in ruins. Still seeking revenge, Aphrodite devises 4 trials as the only way for Psyche to be forgiven. Despite all odds, she eventually succeeds, thus regaining Cupid's love and eventually being granted immortality as the goddess of the soul. Now in Cool With You, this tale is reimagined into a modern-day gender-swapped love story where Hoyeon is our Cupid while Michael is our Psyche. At the beginning, the video opens with Hoyeon following a woman down the street. Even if she's very close, nobody seems to notice her presence, thus suggesting that in the story, Cupid/Eros is invisible to the human eye. This allows her to follow her target without being disturbed, so when the lady gets into an elevator and a man joins her, we get the chance to see how powerful her character actually is. Now, even if in classical mythology Cupid uses bow and arrow to make people fall in love, Hoyeon's version of the character only needs to look at her targets for them to be hit by desire. By the time the elevator reaches its destination, the two strangers have become lovers, so Cupid leaves the premises after accomplishing her task. Despite her success, however, it seems that Hoyeon is far from happy with her existence. As she sits by herself, she seems sad. Her job is to make people fall in love, but she is denied that feeling. She's alone and invisible to the world, so her dissatisfaction here already sets the scene for what will happen later on in the story. In the meantime, however, a man walks by holding an umbrella, and Cupid immediately clocks him as her next target. She follows him into a building, steals an umbrella from the stand, and essentially creates an inciting incident that allows the man to meet a girl whose umbrella just got taken. This is the moment we finally catch up with NewJeans. In contrast to the humans, they can see Hoyeon, so much so that they've been watching her every move without her even noticing. This implies that their characters are supernatural as well. In contrast to Cupid, they're able to possess humans and interact with people, but they're also able to see her, meaning that in a sense they're creatures that cannot bridge the gap between these two worlds. Now, since we're looking at a modern adaptation of a classical tale, we can say that in this context, NewJeans play a role similar to the chorus in classical Greek theater. When it comes to Greek tragedies, comedies, and satires, in fact, the story was performed by actors, each playing a specific character. The events taking place, however, were also introduced, explained, and commented upon by a chorus, which essentially consisted in a group of performers that sang and danced to highlight the most important parts of the plot. If Hoyeon, Michael, and Tony play the characters of this story, NewJeans act as the chorus. They sing and dance the theme of the story, they look over the events, and they also introduce us to the concept by showing us the painting. Much like the Greek chorus, NewJeans are a collective voice that acts as a bridge not only between the humans and the gods, but also between reality and fiction. They are observing the unfolding events like a member of the audience, but at the same time, they're also part of the story themselves. Now, when it comes to what creature they might be, the press release actually confirmed the NewJeans play the role of guardian angels that accompany the goddess throughout her story. They watch Cupid's actions as spectators just like us, which, as I said before, makes them the perfect chorus. Now, after Hoyeon walks by Hain in the rain, we cut to a museum where Danielle is working as a tour guide. She's the one introducing us to the painting of Love and Psyche, but while she explains it to the visitors, she also keeps an eye on Cupid, who in turn is pairing up yet another couple in the crowd. Instead of moving on, however, this time Hoyeon stays because her attention has been caught by the painting itself. This is the moment she lays eyes on Michael, a mortal man, who is just as fascinated by the painting as she was. If you look at the video here, the parallel between Love and Psyche and Hoyeon and Michael is pretty evident. Michael is facing the sleeping Psyche, a human who is unaware to be loved by a god, while Hoyeon stands in front of Cupid, the god of desire who loves in secret and cannot be seen by the one he loves the most. In the story, divinity makes their love impossible, but she's not about to give up just yet. In a parallel to the beginning, Hoyeon follows Michael in the elevator, but when a woman comes in, this time she doesn't move. She doesn't look at her, she doesn't hit her with her power, because she wants to keep the man for herself. Overcome by love, this is the first time that she feels her duty as a Cupid, and moving forward it will get worse and worse. After their first encounter, Hoyeon's attention is only focused on Michael. The guardian angels observe the situation from afar, increasingly concerned, and they're right about that, because Cupid's love sickness is taking over her completely. Not only she longs for the love of a human who cannot see her, she's ignoring her duty to be with him, and her love sickness even starts affecting the relationships she already created in the past. One night, Cupid/Eros is overcome by desire and breaks in the man's house under the watchful eye of the guardian angels. In a visual parallel to the painting, Psyche the human is sleeping and Eros the god is looking at them lovingly. When she turns to the side, however, Hoyeon only sees his reflection in the mirror, and this pushes her to make a decision that will change her life forever. Wishing nothing more than to be loved by the human, Cupid gets rid of her divine spoils and gives up immortality. In a very powerful scene, Hoyeon removes her clothes and stands under the rain feeling it for the first time. This is a metaphorical rebirth of love. She renounced her divinity and left her immortality behind, but in turn she gained humanity and the privilege to experience life like a mortal. Cupid's rebirth as a human marks the end of side A and the beginning of side B, where NewJeans come across like the chorus to sing and dance about this love which is now possible. Now in the second act we see the aftermath of Cupid's choice, and initially it really seems like she made the right call. Now a human, Hoyeon goes to Michael's house and knocks on the door. When he answers, Michael sees her for the first time ever, and this alone fills Hoyeon with joy. This first official encounter marks the true beginning of their love story, and throughout the video we see the couple falling in love more and more and living their best life together. In side B we also discover that Michael's character is an artist, so Hoyeon not only becomes his lover but also his muse. This is a very important detail here, because after spending an eternity without being seen or loved by anybody, now Eros is finally seen and loved by her Psyche. She's not invisible anymore, she's not alone anymore. She found somebody that not only sees her but immortalizes her through art, which one can argue is the human way to make somebody immortal. This is a love story so wholesome and sweet it seems destined to last forever, but as it turns out it's far from it. One day at a crossroads tragedy strikes. Hoyeon is on one side of the street, Michael is on the other, when all of a sudden a man appears behind him like a shadow. That's Tony Leung's character, who by the looks of it seems to be another Cupid/Eros. His appearance terrifies Hoyeon, and she has every reason to be scared, because in a matter of seconds Tony looks at Michael, hitting him with his power. Understanding what he just did, Hoyeon rushes over, but it's already too late. Hit by the arrow of love, Michael looks at the girl behind her, and the two of them instantly fall in love. Without saying a word, Tony Leung smiles and walks away. Hoyeon is heartbroken, but this sad ending might not be the ending after all. In the final part of side B, the video ends with the song Get Up, whose lyrics encourage a loved one to get up and meet again soon. Expressing the wish not to fight their shadow and reunite, Get Up is a song that implies a desire to spring back up after a fall or a broken dream. Even if Hoyeon ends up walking away from them, NewJeans keep on singing the request until the very end, thus concluding the video with a call for action and reaction. To see if the story will continue or not, we'll have to wait and see, but in the meantime I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching guys, I'll see you next time, bye bye!